What's going on, boys and girls, and welcome back to Nth-Level Entertainment, the most awesome geek and car culture YouTube channel in South Africa. I'm your host, Uzweletu Mahlangu, and today we're talking about Superman and Lois, episode 4. Now, the show, thank God, is maintaining its standards of quality and good writing as well. And there's strong focus on more sort of like meaningful character dynamics within the narrative as the series progresses. As far as the things we were introduced to from the pilot episode, I would tentatively classify it as a filler episode because we didn't see much of, well, any actually, of Captain Luther, as similarly to how we didn't see any of him in the previous episode as well. But nonetheless, they managed to weave a very compelling storyline in the sense that the show itself, even from the promotional teaser trailers that we saw before it aired, it seems that it's one of its main focuses is the family aspect of Superman's life. Him juggling the dual identity between Clark Kent and Superman, and the role of being a father and also a good husband to Lois, while being the man that the world depends on in times of crises, pardon the pun. So the show actually has a very keen and very well executed focus on that narrative, because similarly to those promotional images, we see him actually sort of like trying to grasp on different strands of rope that connect to different aspects of his life. As he pulls them together, the collage forms a picture of him and his family, which I also believe was, but this is more of a theory, which it was a bit of a hint towards Infinite Crisis, which I think the show is building to, possibly along with the other CW shows, depending on how they progress when we see them. But yeah, it was one of those, because the episode itself started on the football field. We see that Jonathan and Jordan are still both members of the same football team, and Jordan is becoming a regular member of that team. We see a scene where the coach is like, Kent, and Jonathan runs up, he's like, yes coach, he's like, not you, short stack, and of course that's Jordan. We see that Clark is also following through from where we saw him last in the episode. He's the assistant coach, which in the scene that we saw proved to be useful in that he's the one who's there, who's sort of like, gonna talk Jordan through moments where he feels either anxious or maybe he needs to be calmed down so that he doesn't go too far. Clark seems to be playing that role quite effectively because we see him talking him through his nervousness of whether he can do this or not. And, Clark basically gave him a bit of a pep talk. And that scene also showed us the growing, complicated dynamic between Jonathan and Jordan, where there's seeds of jealousy, where he's now, having to adjust to a new position in life, where he's no longer the popular all-rounder athletic brother. That's now Jordan, and he's now on the outside, and now he has to navigate that new existence kind of thing. So it's quite an interesting dynamic, but he still seems to be, exhibiting quite a level head, in that he's being objective. He's not just, lashing out and having outbursts or throwing tantrums just because he's not getting as much attention as he did before. He's no longer as popular. He's no longer as valuable in his own football team as he used to be. He's still dealing with all of that quite well. He's still treating Jordan like his brother. He still supports him in things, and while still expressing how he feels about it, in a very sort of mature and intelligent manner. He's still very supportive of his brother, which is very impressive. So I'm wondering what's going to happen with his story down the line. And then we also see the growing complications with Clark and General Sam Lane, Lois's dad, as far as, how he feels Superman should be handling his responsibilities to the world in deference to his role in his family. And how that's actually causing problems, between Lois and General Lane, as well as Clark and General Lane, and Superman and General Lane, because it seems to be spilling out even into their workplace. There was a scene where the villain of this episode was a mad genius called Thaddeus Kilgrave, who was being transported from one prison to another. I think he was going to Blackgate or something like that. And part of the reasons for that is because, you know, the military is starting to notice that Superman is not like around as much as he used to be, even though they don't know the reasons why. They don't know that Clark moved to Smallville, lost his job, so on and so forth. They just see the results of that in the fact that, you know, we don't see Superman as much in Metropolis anymore, you know, patrolling the skies and so on and so forth. So that makes them nervous as far as what's now the villain population. How are they going to react to seeing that? And is there going to be an uptake in their activity? So we see that conversation go on between them as well. And we see some animosity between them now when they're in the war room strategizing about what to do next and what's going on with Thaddeus Kilgrave, you know, making the decision that Superman, as a show of faith, should escort the prison transfer. And then he says basically he's not going to throw away time with his family just for a show of faith, which is understandable, but of course it causes conflict. And now in General Sam Lane, the ideas that were actually instilled in him by Captain Luthor in the previous episodes are now beginning to grow. Now he's beginning to become a little less trustful of Superman and Clark because of the fact that the idea that he might turn rogue has been planted in his head, and now he's using confirmation bias to think that that might actually happen. Where at the end of the episode we actually see him open the file 7734, which is on the back of the dog tags he was given by Captain Luthor. So it was an interesting episode in that regard. We also see Lois continuing on with her arc in the series, which is her main antagonist is Morgan Edge and what he's doing in Smallville. And we get to see a little bit more of that. We get to get some answers on the last scene we saw in the previous episode where there was that lady with the heat vision, where we were thinking, is she Kryptonian? Is he just super powered? Is he sharing Superman's powers amongst people? She only has heat vision. And it turns out that 6 years ago, there was a meteor that landed somewhere that had X-Kryptonite, as he called it at the end of the episode, which actually contains properties that allow people to be imbued with Kryptonian powers through this material. And when I did some digging, apparently it's actually canon. It's in the comics as well, this X-Kryptonite, and it works the same way in the comics. So it seems that that's how he's getting these henchmen to attack Lois with superpowers. He's actually creating them with this X-Kryptonite, and he's actually looking to, you know, build an army of superhuman soldiers using this material. And we see, but Lois hasn't uncovered that part of the truth yet. We just see her make her moves and so on and so forth, still continuing to investigate, and some of that is actually now showing the struggles that Clark is having with balancing his roles, because she asks him to show up at some sort of a meeting where he was going to testify on her behalf, because Morgan had somehow blocked her out of that, and he wasn't able to make that because he had practice with the boys, and he also had to deal with Kilgrave being escorted, and that prison escort actually goes wrong because of these distractions, and Kilgrave escapes, which then leads to Superman having to hunt him down and later face off with him, while having to save his boys, who were dealing with a new metahuman that appeared in Smallville due to the explosion that happened when Jonathan and Jordan were at that bonfire party, and he had heat vision that caused the explosion. So it turns out that event triggered some sort of a reaction with a chemical that was present in the area, which when fused with the explosion caused this boy to have some sort of powers, which looked something like he was being a speedster but couldn't control it. He was basically, you know, convulsing a lot with destructive concussive force as well. He reminded me of an episode in Smallville which was called Jitters, where there was a character who actually got infected by kryptonite, and he eventually had also these, you know, random spurts of just starting to convulse, and when he would destroy the things around him. So it was interesting in that you know, in that the different, the A, B, and the C plots, how they were all interwoven together to make sense and actually support each other. It was very good writing on the show writers' you know, point of view there. So I was pretty impressed. Again, we only got about, I think, two action scenes with Superman. The one where he shows up too late for the prisoner transport, and the one where he actually faces off against Thaddeus Kilgrave. Again, the effects were on point, almost movie-like cinematic type, you know, and but still within a TV budget. and the dialogue and the story writing was very sort of grounded and meaningful. It wasn't just corny fluff and camp upbeatness, which is enjoyable sometimes, but for a show that seems to be modeled after Zack Snyder's version of the Superman world, it makes sense that the writing is as grounded and serious as it is. So yeah, I enjoyed this episode. So that's gonna be it for my review of the episode. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of it, if you've seen it. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the thumbs up icon and leave us a like. If you'd like to subscribe, do so, and please ring the bell icon when you do that, so you're notified every time I drop new content on the channel. Alright guys, as usual, I've been Nth-Level. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me, and as usual, take care of each other, stay awesome, and stay chasing your dreams to infinity and beyond.